I don't know if Mr. Bayo and other guy is still getting used to some of these AI tools. Look, it can put you in trouble. I tell you, if you don't apply them properly, especially if you happen to be in public office. He tweeted a picture of the president, President Tinubu, and President Paul Kagame. And at the bottom of that, bottom right-hand corner, you could see that it's clearly a Grok-generated image. Of course, you see the signature there at the bottom right-hand corner. So the thing about all of this, for purposes of full disclosure, you should have put that in context. Well, two things. Yes, the meeting may have happened. Now we can't even, no visual representation that actually happened, because this, if it's a Grok-generated image, it means that image is not actually true. So editorially, you can't go ahead and use that authoritatively as though that was exactly how it came through, because it is AI generated. Unfortunately, we see that on the front pages of a lot of newspapers. Maybe they must have glossed over that. But it invalidates that particular picture. Not that the meeting didn't happen, or not that it invalidates the meeting, but it raises a lot of questions as to credibility, because there wasn't any full disclosure that this is how this image came about, other than the AI signature, which we see there. Now, there are dangers with this kind of scenario, because we do know it's going to be a campaign year, and then there'll be several things that will happen where people talk about fake news. I can imagine if maybe somebody in another political party posted an image which is Grok or AI generated for a particular scenario. The presidential spokesperson and the other parties will pick up on that, I reckon, and they might raise issues as to validity or otherwise of those kind of images. So if you, in that position, have to use this and you don't have full disclosure, that's why there will be questions as to, did that meeting actually then happen?
And I think that it's pretty clear what Nigerians are asking, because, I mean, especially when you're using the platform like Twitter, where a lot of young people are AI savvy, and they know what to look for, and they know what they're seeing. But for many traditional media houses, that's one of the areas that they'll have to invest in to be sure that whatever it is, because normally when you get anything from the State House, it is taken for granted that you do not have to think twice or, you know, look again before you use those kinds of things. But clearly with this, the controversy that has now been generated by these pictures, you know, one certainly will have to take a second look at this thing. So I think that the president's media team, led by Mr. Bayo Onanuga, would need to provide clarity as to why it was that an AI-generated photo, you know, was used to depict the meeting, the alleged meeting, because now it's now an alleged meeting. It's an alleged meeting. When you look at how that matter is being reported, people are now saying the president purported meeting with the president of Rwanda. So those are the kinds of comments that would now be generated, because it cannot just be taken for granted when you now see that this photo has a signature of Grok, and Grok is the AI tool of the platform X, formerly known as Twitter. So when you see that sort of signature at the bottom of the photo, it definitely then raises questions as to whether or not this meeting happened. I was teasing Chamberlain earlier, and I said, well, Chamberlain, it's possible that the meeting happened and they forgot to take a picture. So maybe they just, you know, brought up something to depict the meeting. After all, we used to do caricatures in those days, or cartoon photographs.
That's understandable.
If that was the idea behind this, then there needs to be clarity. There needs to be, and this is
full disclosure.
This is not us giving you spin lines. This is not us. This is not us. But this is us just thinking of possibilities, things that could have happened. Because we also understand that the president of Rwanda was tagged in the photo. You know, will he be tagged in something that didn't happen?
That's
even though it is not. They said there are no pictures of or any encounter of that on his own Twitter platform. So these are the kinds of things that are raising doubts in the minds of Nigerians, and I think it's very important that the presidency clarifies and clears the air as to why it is we have an AI-generated photo depicting a meeting that allegedly took place between presidents of Nigeria and that of Rwanda. Ayo.
One thing that this teaches is perhaps to also help the media team know that we know, I mean, AI tools can be used to enhance an image. And if that is the intention, in the words of, going by the words of Chamberlain, full disclosure, let us know, okay, the meeting held, the picture is not good enough, but we've used this one to enhance it. That's one thing. Secondly, whether or not the meeting happened, it's something that we need to also be sure of, because, first of all, I've tried to check. Thankfully, using the same AI tool, we've asked the question whether or not the Rwandan media reported that story. And there are samples to indicate whether or not it did happen. But there is no official communication from the government of Rwanda about it. Maybe the coming days will say, but it is important. Because trust quotient is low and people know where what is coming from, it is important that the presidency would give us clarity so the presidency can be believable going forward. That's my 2 cents, Chamberlain.
Yeah, because, I mean, tomorrow if you tweet another image, they will ask questions. How do we know this actually happened? How do we know this is the real image? I mean, we'll expect that he will not gloss, or the media team will not gloss over this and actually tell the people, okay, this is why that happened, or yes, I should have disclosed. So that kind of scenario, because it's very important at the time that we're in, because if that were the case, you don't want to be misled. And this would be embarrassing to the country if Rwanda actually says, well, this wasn't exactly the picture, this didn't happen exactly like this. So that kind of scenario, you want to avoid all those kind of things, because it could impede communication and messaging, especially in that office.